Welcome back into the Cowboys Report. We'll break down some news and rumors on today's show. Before we get into that, we are doing another George Pickens jersey raffle entry. Whoever comments the most gets the free entry on today's video. Riley Groff narrowly won the last one with 115 comments, so head on down there and spam the comments on today's show. We're going to begin with a conversation on a potential undrafted free agent sleeper. That is former Syracuse safety Alijah Clark. Both the Draft Network, Fansided, hyping him up, saying he's got a strong chance to make the roster. And the biggest evidence presented for this was that Alijah Clark got some reps one day with the first team at OTAs/Minicamp. And that is true. But there is key context left out of this. I don't think it is fair as it was framed to be, he's moving up the depth chart. He didn't actually move up the depth chart. The safety room was hurt that day. They didn't have the guys that they would normally have out there at that practice. Malik Hooker missed the day with back spasms. Marquise Bell has been off to the side doing shoulder rehab. Donovan Wilson has been off to the side doing knee rehab. So your top three of your top four safeties, if not your actual top three, were out. So that leaves Etienne Thomas as one, and then it's all undrafted free agents. Then it's Alijah Clark. So I don't think we can present that as, see, he's now safety 4. Like, that's not actually what it was at all, frankly. Now, it doesn't mean you can't argue he's got a chance to make the roster. In fact, it's a very strong argument, the biggest of which is this. Alijah Clark did get the largest guaranteed sum among Cowboys undrafted free agents in both the base salary that's guaranteed and the signing bonus at $259,000. He was number one. Justin Barron was number two. We'll come back to his name in a little bit. Then there's some gaps. Mike Smith, one of the other undrafted free agent safeties. Rivaldo Fairweather. Remember, small undrafted free agent class. Zion Turtles is at 5 with 135 total guaranteed. Tight end Tyler Neville, Josh Kelly, Bruce Harmon. Trayshawn Holden got next to nothing guaranteed. Got some more thoughts on this, as if he can make the roster too. But what do you think? Will Alijah Clark make the Cowboys roster as that undrafted free agent sleeper? Y for yes, N for no. Head down there and in the comments and let me know. I think undrafted free agent safety Alijah Clark has one of the best chances to make the Cowboys roster among a pretty small undrafted free agency class. But I'd be hesitant to say that means it's likely or he's got a likely path to make it. In the current pecking order at safeties, I'd put him at 5. Behind the big 4 of Marquise Bell, of Etienne Thomas, of Donovan Wilson, of Malik Hooker. And that's, I think, fair to put him at 5. I don't know if Dallas carries 5 safeties, though. I think he is a near lock for the practice squad. The guaranteed money he got alone makes it pretty likely. I think we've overreacted to, he got reps with the first team when 3 of the top 4 safeties were out that day. That was just because of injuries. But injuries happen. He could be a key part on special teams, potentially. All of that could help him actually end up making the Cowboys' 53-man roster. Beyond Alijah Clark, there is one more name I want to mention, and that is Justin Barron, the really safety-turned-linebacker out of Syracuse as well, with a massive amount of special teams snaps. Those guys could be like player 52, or maybe they're player 57, and injuries happen. Maybe they don't get the roster, maybe they do. I think both those guys, the guaranteed money is extremely similar, are prime candidates to be the next undrafted free agent to make the Cowboys roster. Plus, never ignore tight end. They always seem to put a tight end as an undrafted free agent on the team. Folks, we are just 47 subscribers away from 217,000 here on the Cowboys Report. Help us get there. Hit that sub button right now. Bleacher Report named 2 players as trade targets for the Cowboys, both at the running back position. It is Travis Etienne and Najee Harris. Now, we'll go in depth on both players. I am not convinced right now that Dallas is interested in adding a back. I think Dallas wants to see the current group as constructed. They want to see what the guys they've invested in, Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jaden Blue, etc., have to offer. So running back could very well end up being a concern for this team. Or it could be fine. I think the Cowboys are very much in a let's wait and see how this all plays out. Of the two, I think Etienne might be of more interest. He's got a little bit more juice. I think the Cowboys are craving there. He also might be more available. Jacksonville has invested a decent amount at running back with Tank Bigsby with Bashal Tutin. And the Cowboys did pass on Najee Harris once already. He was a free agent. Dallas didn't pursue him. He's also cheaper by a pretty significant margin, as we'll get into more on today's show. But when it comes to the running back room in general, do you think the Dallas Cowboys will end up adding another back to the roster? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section of today's video. Will the Cowboys end up adding another back? Let's look at Etienne, who he wasn't as good last year. He missed 2021 with the foot injury, but he was a 1,000-yard runner in 2022 and 2023. And then he kind of got phased out of the offense in favor of Tank Bigsby. They spent a near top 100 pick on Bashal Tutin. The biggest issue with Etienne is this, the contract. He's playing on his 5th year fully guaranteed option. That is $6.14 million. I think there's a good chance that Etienne ends up being a popular trade deadline name for a variety of NFL teams. That it becomes a little bit cheaper, and they can explore additional options. And if Jacksonville gets good stuff from Bigsby and Tutin, they can move on from Etienne. I think he's not a Jag in 2026. Does he finish the year as a Jag is the real question. Najee Harris. Look, this guy is who he is. He can get you 250 carries. He can get to that kind of heavy benchmark figure that not necessarily every player gets to. That's that's a very solid 15 touches per game, carries per game, which again, not as many people as you might think actually get to that figure. And he'll get you 1,000 yards in the process. But it's going to be 4 yards a pop. Like, that's just who he is. That's who he is at this time. He was a free agent. Cowboys said no. The contract is now changed. He's got incentives for 1,000+ yards. We'll see if he gets to them or not. The Cowboys would owe that. But of the base $5.25 million deal, the Chargers would be eating $3.75 million of that contract, and the Cowboys would be paying just $1.5. That's super cheap. Then again, if you're the Chargers, I know you drafted a Marion Hampton. If something happens to Hampton or Harris, now your running back room is kind of bad. And that might not be something they want to do, given the fairly minimal savings involved. 4th of July is almost here, so why not rep America's team during America's Day? Get your 4th of July Cowboys-themed gear over at chatsports.com/Cowboys4th. Link will be at the comment section and the description of today's show. It's chatsports.com/Cowboys4th. Let's briefly talk the tight end U developments for the Cowboys. If you don't know, Tight End University is the George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Greg Olsen kind of creation of the tight ends get together and they have a good time and they learn. And of late, they've done maybe a bit more partying, and they had a surprise Taylor Swift concert, which I guess for some was cool. For some, maybe they thought that was annoying. Either way, 3 Cowboys players are in attendance at the tight end development thing. Jake Ferguson, Brevin Spann-Ford, and kind of snuck under the radar, undrafted free agent Tyler Neville got to go, which is, I was kind of surprised at. But he was on the list put out by Tight End U. Of note, there is no Luke Schoonmaker at Tight End U this year. And I'll preface by saying I don't want to read too much into it. I don't know if it really matters that much. The why isn't known, and it could be personal reasons. He could have been out of town, whatever. I'm sure there's a viable reason for it. I think it's just worth mentioning that Schoonmaker wasn't there, since he and Jake Ferguson, who's in attendance this year, were both there last season. I think you can make a good argument that, especially of the 3 guys there, probably helps Brevin Spann-Ford and Tyler Neville the most. It gets them around better tight ends. They could probably glean more information, learn more stuff as younger players who haven't been around as much in the NFL, and could really help Ferguson. Probably doesn't help a George Kittle as much. He's just there to be the mentor. I don't think it's some magical make me great event where if you go, you're good. If you don't, you're bad. But I think it is at least worth mentioning as we sit here in late July and there's nothing else going on.